brothers rock Jesus pieces, but they really don't know Jesus. Just know that he's the seed, and please believe it. We got the keys to the kingdom. We'll never be defeated. Evil legions, all of these demons. I know you see them scheming. Please believe it. We got the keys to the kingdom. We got the keys for these brothers rock Jesus pieces, but they really don't know Jesus. Just know that he's the seed, and please believe it. We got the keys to the kingdom. We'll never be defeated. Evil legions, all of these demons. I know you see them scheming. Please believe it. We got the keys to the kingdom. We got the keys to the keys to the.
Now I want to say this. Tell me some commandments. What commandments have you learned or heard of? Okay. Now, I got a question. You said to love your neighbor. Who is that talking about? Uh-oh.
I think everybody.
Okay, she said she thinks everybody. So now, did we not read who God has been talking to the entire Bible?
Bring it up.
Ah, so you see how quickly we revert back to Christianity? That's why we got to be out here purging the minds of our people. Because so quickly, we'll be reading all day, the children of Israel, the children of Israel, the children of Israel. And we wholeheartedly believe it, but as soon as a certain question comes, back to Christianity. Okay, so now, Leviticus 19. Leviticus 19, read.
Leviticus chapter 9.
Listen to who your neighbor is real quick, sis. Sis, you listening? Sis, my Congolese sister. You listening? Listen good.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
So here's a commandment that will keep brothers, sisters out of jail. God says you can't hate your brother, your people in your mind, right? Go ahead.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
So your job is to correct your neighbor. Now, we just brought out the law about your dress code, right? So now, if a sister has the law, you say, hey, you know we're not supposed to wear pants. Because it says so in Deuteronomy 22, verse 5. Because the same way we're trying to show our people how to come out of sin, it's your job to show your people how to come out of sin as well, right? But keep reading.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him.
God says you're supposed to correct your neighbor and not allow them to fall into sin. But keep reading.
Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
Who's your neighbor?
The children of thy people.
Oh, sis said, oh, yes. Your neighbor is not necessarily who you live next door to. Your neighbor is your own people.
That's right.
That's what God said.
I got a question.
You have a question? Go ahead, sister.
About Ezra 9:10.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of conflict in my church.
Oh, you know why? Because your church is a place of confusion.
That's right.
Yeah. So you want to know about Ezra 9 and 10?
Yeah.
Okay. What about it do you want to know?
How God said that not to give your sons and daughters to other nations.
Okay. Very good. Ezra chapter 9 verse 10. Let's read it.
Ezra chapter 9 and verse 10. And now, O our God, what shall we say after this? For we have forsaken thy commandments, which thou hast commanded by the servants of the prophets, saying, the land unto which ye go to possess it is an unclean land, with the filthiness of the people of the lands, with their abominations, which have filled it from one end to another with their uncleanness.
So you got that part. Verse 12. Okay, go ahead.
Now therefore, give not your daughters unto their sons, neither take their daughters unto your sons, nor seek their peace or their wealth forever, that ye may be strong and eat the good of the land and leave it for an inheritance to your children forever.
Okay. So now, we're going to break this down little by little. Because that's why we're out here, right, brothers? Okay. So now, question is, it says that we will endure in the land and give it for an inheritance. Did we endure in the land? Auntie, what do you say? No, because now we're in another man's land. So, right, we're not, yeah, it's talking about we'd have dwelt in the land of milk and honey. We would have been in the promised land. We would stay there if we didn't, give me Psalms 106, if we didn't do certain things with these nations. Marry them, follow their abominations. Do you know that's what abortions are? Abortions are women sacrificing their children unto another god.
Bring it up.
That is what they did to the god of Remphan. They sacrificed to other gods. I'm sorry, Molech. Molech. Go ahead.
Psalms chapter 106, verse 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them.
So our job when we went into the land, we were supposed to destroy the other nations. That was our job. But go ahead.
But were mingled among the heathen.
So what we did was we mingled with them, meaning we married them. God says we weren't supposed to do that. Go ahead.
And learned their works.
And what do we do?
Learned their work.
We learned to sacrifice our children. We learned to serve other gods.
Right.
We learned to disannounce our God, turn our backs on our God.
Right.
That's what we learned by mingling or intermarrying with those other nations.
That's right.
Was that it? Jump to Ezra chapter 10 verse 10. So we're going to go back to where we were, but one chapter over, right? Ezra chapter 10 verse 10. Read.
Ezra chapter 10 verse 10. And Ezra the priest stood up and said unto them, Ye have transgressed and have taken strange wives.
So now, in the same book of Ezra, one chapter over, God says, we have sinned as a people and we have taken strange wives. Because were we allowed to marry outside of the children of Israel? No. The proof of that is we're no longer in our land.
Bring it up.
You understand that, sister? So your church, I don't care what the debate is, they ain't going to give it like this.
Right.
They're not going to give you to understand that the children of Israel are going to give you that's keeping the commandments.
Right.
Like Israel not in Christ going to give you.
That's
They're
right.
not going to do that. But keep reading. Because are there mixed couples in your church?
I mean, I'm married to a white man.
Oh, sister, I want you to come up close. Come close. Come close. Come close. I want you to come right here. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. All right, so now, sis, my Congolese sister. So your husband is Caucasian. Okay. Did you know this before?
The Bible?
Yeah, what we're talking about today.
No.
That you're the children of Israel. Because your forefathers suffered colonialism in the Congo? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. That's actual Bible prophecy. We're going to get that. I want to get that first. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 33. 33. Deuteronomy 28 verse 33. I want you to hear this really, really good. Because guess what? And then I want a million scriptures right now. I got to calm down. I want Joshua 24 after that. But go ahead, read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
So one of the curses that befell the children of Israel for disobeying God, right? Not hearkening to his commandments like we read earlier, and not doing his commandments, one of them was a nation was going to eat all the resources up of your land.
Right.
Now, one part of the curse is we went into slavery on ships, but our foreparents that were left behind in Africa, they were colonized. King Leopold, he became wealthy. Belgium became wealthy off of the natural resource of the rubber tree. Is that correct, sister? The rubber tree made Belgium and Europe rich. How do we see that today? Every car has rubber tires.
Right.
The primary manufacturer of rubber is the Congo.
Right.
Right?
And also all of our smartphones. That's
Yes.
lithium.
Yes. Lithium, bauxite, all comes from Africa. And we have these things readily available on our car, in our pockets, things of that nature. So, with that being said, God says one of the curses is that you were not going to reap the benefits of all of that resource being pulled out of Africa. But read that again.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labor.
Hold on. Go ahead.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors.
And all the labors. Because it took, you know what else King Leopold did? If you didn't gather enough rubber, he would cut off the hand. So you know that history. You understand? That history is a fact. They would cut off the hands of our people if they didn't bring back enough rubber. Oh, look at it right there. And guess what Sweden and Switzerland did? They made chocolate. They made chocolate hands to mock our people suffering. I want y'all to think about the evil of these people. So sister, laying in bed tonight gonna be real uncomfortable for you tonight. I'm gonna be honest with you. Why? Because you can't unhear this truth.
Right.
That's a fact. And guess what? Someone that looks exactly like your husband is responsible for that.
Right.
We trying to help. We trying to give you that truth that your Christian church would rather skedaddle, tip, tap, tap dance around. We gonna give it to you as it is written.
That's right.
Read that again.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest.
Jump to verse 15. So colonization, slavery happened because we didn't do what? Verse 15 real quick.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So because we didn't do what God says, remember his commandment, Deuteronomy 7:3, his commandment says we can't marry the other nationalities.
Right.
That's the commandment of God.
That's right.
So therefore, because we broke that commandment, our people were colonized, put on slavery. We're on the bottom today because we are still breaking God's commandment. You understand that, brother? We're still breaking God's commandment right now. So therefore, when we look around and we march together, we rally together, why is this happening to our people? Why did Eric Gardner get choked out? Why did Trayvon Martin get killed? The list goes on. Why did Sandra Bland get killed? It goes on and on and on and on. You know why? Because we keep breaking God's commandments.
That's right.
That's the root of it all. We're breaking God's commandments. Now, Ezra 10. Well, I said no, Deuteronomy 7.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
So what we read in Ezra was them just restating the law that was given to Moses to give to the children of Israel in the wilderness. It's the same law. That's what we read in Ezra. So during the time of Ezra and in Nehemiah, our people were marrying those of the other nations. And they were reminding them, remember, God says we can't marry them.
Right.
That's why we're being punished. That's why we're going into slavery under the Persians. That's why we're going into slavery under the Greeks, under the Romans, under this white man kingdom called America.
That's right.
It all has the same reasoning. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 7 verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son.
So it's saying the same thing we just read in Ezra, right? It says your daughters don't give to their sons. We're telling you, you're our daughter. You shouldn't be given to their sons.
That's right.
He is the son of what you just saw on that phone.
Right.
That's the son. We should not give our daughters, our sisters over to them.
Right.
At all. Go ahead.
Nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
Nor can I take their daughters and give it to my son. We can't do that because we're breaking God's commandments.
That's right.
Now, Nehemiah 13.
Bring it out.
I want you to see that's a law of God. We just read about the pants, right?
Right.
We know that's a law of God, right? We understand that. We read about the Sabbath days. We understand that's a law of God. We're reading about the building of the black and Hispanic family.
That's right.
When we marry outside of our race, listen good, brother. When we marry outside of our race, we are breaking God's commandments.
That's right.
You understand that, right? So our son, we can't give to their daughters. We just saw the example walk right past us.
Right.
Ain't God good?
Right.
God just gave us a living example right here.
Right.
God said we cannot give our sons to their daughters. Neither can we give our sons, our daughters to their sons.
Right.
You understand that? Go ahead, read that, Nehemiah 13.
Nehemiah chapter 13.
Don't worry, he's going to have a long car ride home too. Go ahead.
Verse 23. In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod.
So now, during that same time frame, similar time frame we just read in Ezra, Nehemiah was right in that same time frame. Nehemiah said what he did was he saw Israelite men marrying wives of other nationalities. Go ahead.
Of Ammon and of Moab, and their children
of Chinese and Japanese descent. Go ahead.
And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod.
Because their children spoke half in the speech of the mother from another nation.
Bring it out.
That's what happens. What happens in that is confusion.
Right.
Children are confused.
Right.
Because you say you didn't have children yet. And I say all praises to the Most High.
That's right.
Because who you'll be bringing into the world is his seed.
Right.
You realize that, right? The seed goes through the man.
Right.
So you'll be bringing in another oppressor.
Right. Right.
That's what he is. He's an oppressor.
That's right.
He's an oppressor. Read that.
And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language.
So this is why when the children come about, and we teach them, you're God's chosen people. God only loves you. God only knows you. They think immediately, what about my dad? My dad who raised me. I have to be about his best interests as well. You see that? You see how you got the aha moment? When you have children with the other nations, they can never be fully for your people. They will never be fully for your people because they'll be leaving out the parent who's not the same nation. You understand that? Read.
And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language.
So let's see what our forefathers would do in that time. Read.
But according to the language of each people.
Come on.
And I contended with them.
What did Nehemiah do?
I contended with them.
What are we doing today? We're contending with you. We're telling you, we're trying to pull that mindset out of you. Sister, you're in the midst of sin.
Right.
You're in the midst of error. This is what Nehemiah was doing. But Nehemiah took it a step further. Go ahead.
And cursed them.
What did Nehemiah do?
Cursed them.
He cursed them out, and he cursed them for breaking God's commandments. Go ahead.
And smote certain of them.
Smote means to hit, to physically hit. So when our people talk about, oh, the Bible is about love, it's a book of love and peace, and we have a prophet of God, a mighty prophet of God that was beating people for marrying people of the other nations. That's what we're reading. So when our people say that, we know they don't know the Bible. They don't know the Bible. Our forefathers contended for the laws of God because that is a sin. That is a sin. So you made mention earlier, you said you love God. Auntie said she loved God. So Auntie, we shouldn't see you in pants anymore, right? See that, Auntie? Now here's the thing. It goes into being rebellious. Once you know it and you don't do it, you're rebellious according to God.
That's right.
So we're going to get that again in 2 Samuel 15, but don't get it yet. Finish reading that.
And I contended with them, and cursed them, and smote certain of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by...
You heard what Nehemiah did? He pulled out their hair. He hit them and pulled out their hair and made them do what?
Made them swear by God, saying, ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons.
He made them make a covenant. He beat their behinds first, and he made them swear that they would no longer give their sons and daughters to the other nationalities. Make sense? Go ahead.
Nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves.
Or for what?
Yourselves.
Or not only your children are we talking about, but you yourself better not deal with the other nations. This is the powerful word of God. God says we're not to intermarry. God says we're not to break any of his commandments, your dress code. And here's the thing. Here's what I told you to get. You read that, 15. I want to get my thought.
1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
That's what we got to come to grips with. You hear the word of God. I say, you going to do it? That's called rebellion. Because you know better, you're supposed to do better.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models.